Welcome back, guys. You're listening to the Wire to Wire podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Smethurst. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, where's all the cool new this setup and cameras and lights and all that? It's a lot of stuff to go through, guys. So I'm gonna go through it and actually, take my time and get a good setup for you guys next week. This week I've had a lot of schoolwork and some family stuff. So just a quick podcast for you guys this weekend before the fights. I want to get it out, get my picks out along with my football picks. We're gonna start with football this week. So last week I was 2-3 against the spread. No one really wanted to cover. I had the games picked right, but the spread sucked. It would just, who thought the Chiefs were going to compete with the Chargers or the Bills were going to compete with the Dolphins. But after Thursday night, it seems a little bit more reasonable. These first 4 weeks are going to be really telling on how the league. You're gonna have to wait for the first 4 weeks to really get where these teams are at. Because there is no preseason. So these teams are still trying to figure out their chemistry, figure out what kind of team they want to be, their identity. So it's going to be real hard for the next 2 weeks to make proper picks. But we're going to do it anyway. So this week, I give you 5 a week. Here are my 5. The first one I got, Patriots over the Vegas Raiders by 5.5. Now, you're probably thinking, well, the Raiders are looking real good. They're 2-0. Their offenses look fantastic. Their defense is absolutely horrendous. They don't give up a lot over the top, but they do give up about 6.5 yards per play. That is the worst in the league. And it's not like they're playing top-end offenses. I get it. Carolina, they have Christian McCaffrey, and he kind of went all over the Oakland Raiders, and they put up 30 points. But that's not a top-rated offense at all. Then you go to the Saints, and you're thinking, oh, well, it's the Saints, but no Michael Thomas. That's obviously what we learned from week 2. That's going to be a big, big problem for them going forward. So I like the Patriots in this matchup. They run the ball, and what they do better than anybody in this league is go under. They don't attack you over the top. They don't have a big, deep threat, but they just cut the shit out of your legs. They run the ball, and then they throw, the 5-yard out, the 15-yard slant to Edelman. N'Keal Harry really stepped up last week. I like what Cam Newton's got with him and Edelman. So I just think they're going to just control the game and win by more than a touchdown. I got them winning by 10 in this game. The second one I got, this is going to piss off you Eagle fans, but I got the Bengals, who are dogs by 4.5. 4.5 against your Eagles. I can't see the Eagles covering this. The way that Carson Wentz has played in the first 2 weeks has been absolutely horrendous. He has not been, the Carson Wentz we really thought we were going to see this year. He has not stepped up. Now, I totally get it. He hasn't had the help. His wide receiver core we know is bad. His offensive line we know is bad. He doesn't have much of a running game to speak of. I do like Sanders out of the backfield, but just the way they're game planning, I don't like their offense. You go along with a spotty defense and not the greatest defense in the league. And I like the way Jordan Burrow is playing. I really do. I like the way the Bengals have looked in the first 2 weeks, especially after what we saw the Chargers do to the Kansas City Chiefs. I really so I like what Cincinnati's doing. Their offense, I like the way Jordan Burrow goes out there and competes. I think he's going to carve up that Eagles defense, and I actually have the Bengals winning this game. I really do. The Eagles are going to go down 0-3, but even if the Eagles do win, I can't see them winning by more than a field goal. So I like the Bengals in this matchup. The second one, I got the Cards in their matchup. 5.5. I really like the way Kyler Murray's playing. I like the way the defense is playing. I like that team as a whole. I really think that air raid offense is something special, especially when you have a guy like Kyler Murray in the backfield just completely doing his thing, making plays. And I don't like what the Lions are throwing out there right now. I think Kyler Murray's the better. He's going to be an MVP candidate. I like his chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins already. They look fantastic together, so I like the Cardinals here. The next pick I have the Seahawks going over on the Cowboys. The Seahawks are favored by 5. I don't like the way the Cowboys are looking. Their offense is really, it's it's very streaky. They'll go 2-3 drives where they look fantastic, and then they'll go the rest of the game and look absolutely horrendous. I don't like the way they're looking right now. Their defense is extremely injured. They got like 9 injuries now on the out of their starting group on defense. It's absolutely terrible what's going on in Dallas injury wise. That you can't do anything about that, obviously. So I just think the Seahawks are healthier. I like the way that Russell Wilson's playing out his ass right now. Looking absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the best deep ball thrower in the game. His ball is beautifully thrown, and DK Metcalf is developing somewhat of a route tree. It looks like you accompany that with with Carson out of the backfield, Tyler Lockett, and all the injuries on the Cowboys. I think this is going to be a blowout. Seahawks by more than 2 touchdowns. It's going to be pretty rough. Last one I got for you. The Packers are actually underdogs by 3 points against the New Orleans Saints with no Michael Thomas. Are you freaking kidding me? The way the Packers have looked the last 2 weeks, their offense is absolutely fantastic. What they're able to do in the run game is great. Devontae Adams looks great. Their defense looks pretty good. Not top end of the league, but serviceable, and they'll be able to make some plays. I really like the Packers in this matchup. So those are my 5 picks. To rehash it a little bit, I got the Patriots, Bengals, Cardinals, Seahawks, and Packers. Those are my 5 picks. Do what you want with them. Track them along with me. I really like where they're going with these picks this week. I feel really good about them. I got some money on them, so we'll see where this goes. All right, next we're going to get into some fighting. So when I talked about this last week, I thought that this card was going to be a little bit more stacked. I done some research. I thought it was deeper, but it's really top end heavy. And a lot of times when you have 2 title fights on a card, unless it's like UFC 100 or UFC 200, like a milestone card, which UFC 253 is not, it's really, really top heavy. And that's what happened here. But I'm going to give you my picks, 4 fights that I think are going to be 4 fights that are pickable to me. So the first one I'm going to go with is going to be Jake Matthews versus Diego Sanchez. Now, Jake Matthews is just the bigger, taller, younger fighter here. Diego Sanchez is way over the hill in my opinion. I don't know why he's still fighting. He says he wants to finish out his contract, which is 4 more fights. To be honest with you, I don't know how he does it. Jake Matthews here is just the more well-rounded fighter at this point in his career. I think this is going to be kind of a sad fight to watch because Diego Sanchez just isn't there. He doesn't have what it takes. It's not like a Cowboy thing where Cowboy's still got a little oomph. He still's got somewhat of a chin. I just think Diego gets finished here pretty quick. I like Jake Matthews in this matchup. The second fight, I'm actually only going to pick 3. The second fight we're going to go with is the co-main event. All right, so the co-main event is Dominic Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz. In this matchup, it's obviously for the light heavyweight title since Jon Jones had dropped the light heavyweight championship. And in this matchup, I think it's pretty clear. The better moving, the more athletic fighter here is Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes is the only guy in UFC history to outstrike Jon Jones in a fight. So I really like him here. I think he's coming off a great momentum. A lot of people thought, including myself, thought he beat Jon Jones in the last fight. I think he's just more athletic than Jan. I think his movement is elite. You saw it in that Jon Jones fight. He made Jon Jones come to him. He was patient, and when he hit him, he made it count. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think he finishes Jan. Jan's a great fighter, but I think he's kind of not been lucky. That's not the word. He's on a streak. He's just a grimy fighter. He makes everything ugly. He hits really hard. If he touches Dominic Reyes, it's going to be trouble. I just think he's going to have a problem touching him. I think he's going to have a problem closing the distance here. Dominic Reyes is going to circle, stay outside, kind of be the counter fighter here, and he's going to end up winning by decision. I don't think Jan gets finished here. I think Dominic Reyes has the power to finish. I just think he's just going to be calculated. He's going to do what he has to do to get that championship. He's not going out there for fight of the night. He's going out there to win a championship, and I think that's what he does here. Dominic Reyes is going to be your new light heavyweight champion of the UFC after tonight. My next fight is obviously the main event. So, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. This matchup is absolutely insane. Israel Adesanya obviously is the middleweight champion of the world. These guys absolutely can't stand each other. The shit talking has been absolutely fantastic leading up to this bout. I really like what Israel Adesanya has going for him in this fight. I like the matchup for him. Paulo Costa, don't get me wrong, is a very good striker. He's very good. And he's blessed with unbelievable power and speed. But the problem is his technique is not top level. His technique is not, he's more of a brawler, I would say, in my opinion, than than like a calculated striker. But that's just because of his gifts. He's a very, very big 185er. There were some fears he wasn't going to make weight. He ended up, canceling out those fears. He made weight yesterday. He looks great, but he had to cut a lot of weight to make 185. So in the championship rounds, I just don't know how that's going to look. We've seen it. He does fade in the championship rounds. We've seen it when he's main evented some cards. He does fade a little bit. Israel Adesanya's movement is top level. He is Anderson Silva-esque. Really watching him brings you back to the vintage Anderson Silva, the highlight reels of Forrest Griffin, the highlight reels of Chris Lieben, the amazing head movement he has. He's able to stay in the pocket with his head movement and really counter guys. In the last fight, what you saw, though, against Yoel Romero was a guy that was able to kind of take the fight to a guy that didn't want to fight. Here's not going to be the case. I think Paulo Costa is going to come after him to a certain extent. He's not going to chase him. He's already said that at least early in the fight he won't chase him. If he loses a couple rounds early, I think he will press a little bit more, and that's exactly what Israel Adesanya is going to want. And Israel Adesanya is going to finish him in the third round. He has accuracy. He's not the biggest puncher in the world. He does have power. He's not the biggest puncher in the world, but he has accuracy. He has a great head movement. He's going to frustrate Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is going to get frustrated very early in this fight. And by the third round, he's going to make a mistake. And Israel Adesanya is going to capitalize and finish. Because Israel Adesanya has that killer instinct that we all love to see in the UFC. I have Israel Adesanya winning by third round KO and retaining the middleweight championship. And really capping off a very mediocre card, in my opinion. Last week was a better card all around. But we're back on Fight Island, and we're starting off an amazing 6 weeks of fights. I'm going to break them down every week as we get closer. All right, so some MLB news. The NL wild card has been absolutely crazy. The Giants kind of blew the game last night. That would have really, cemented them, I think, for that last wild card spot. But they didn't win, so it's still wide open for the Brewers, in my opinion, to kind of make a play, maybe the Phillies. But I still think the Giants get in here. The last week and a half of baseball has just been great. All these guys clinching. You've seen some teams that you didn't think were going to make the playoffs here. The Marlins, after going I think it was 57 and 105 last year, make the playoffs. Sitting around 500, just kind of doing what they had to do to get into the playoffs. That was cool to see. The Blue Jays are in the playoffs this year. That was really fun. This has really been an amazing 60-game sprint. I really love seeing it. I want them to get back to a full schedule, though. But baseball's been fun to watch. Move on to some basketball. And the Celtics come out last night, and they come back and beat the Heat to bring the series to 3-2. I still think the Heat win this one. I'm not surprised the Celtics were able to come back. They're fighting for their lives, and they look like it late in that game. I still think the Heat move on from the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's been a fun series to watch. A few possessions here and there in every game, and this series could be 3-2 the other way. So it's been a fun series to watch. The Lakers have really taken over in the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. I think the Nuggets are just too tired. I've been saying it. The amount of games they've played, they've fought their asses off. They've come down from 3-1 in both series to win the first two. I just don't see it here. I think the Lakers finish it off tonight, and they go into the finals, and LeBron answers the question that he can make it in the West. Sports has been fantastic. I mean, what can you say? Other than that, it's kind of brought some normalcy. College football's back. The Pac-12's back. They're coming back now. The Big Ten's back, thank God. So they have some really shortened seasons with no bye weeks. That's going to be fun to see, especially with this Corona thing. You're seeing some schools have to cancel some games. Notre Dame had to postpone their game against this weekend. So it's been crazy, but college football, everything's back. Sports is back, and I'm so glad to actually bring you guys some real content here. I know this week has been a short podcast, and I'm sorry for that. I got to get to work and stuff like that. But I wanted to get some content out for you this week. I want to work on my consistency. I want to bring you more and more content every week, especially since I got all that new product from Full Sail University. Thank you, Full Sail. That's the school I'm going to. So the quality of podcast is definitely going to go up after this week. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. I appreciate you guys listening every week and commenting and interacting with me. It really makes this fun, and thank you for following along with me on this journey. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights tonight. Enjoy football Sunday, and I will be back next Thursday, and I will break down the Thursday night game, and I will give you my picks for that weekend. Thanks, guys, for listening. Have a good one.